What up brothers, it's Clipper King returning for another new review. Welcome back to my channel. The figure that I'll be reviewing today is the ThreeZero Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Leonardo figure. And I would like to say a massive thank you to Wyman at 16 Bruce who has kindly lent me this and Michelangelo as the set. And I will also say he's got a fire sale going on at the moment and some of his prices are really good. The way I understand it, a couple of guys picked up the Leonidas overnight. So he is selling items and he is shipping them straight out, so there is that. I will also say the set for these is £300 and then the shipping to pay. So I can sell them from here or you can buy them from Wyman, whatever, if that is what you choose. On top of that, I'd like to say I'm very tempted to keep them myself. Because when I know I'd got them coming, I do a bit of research, watch some YouTube videos, watch some, look at some pictures, start forming my opinion. And I've got to say, and I'll be honest, a lot of the reviews out there pretty much show them but don't really go into depth, so they were no help at all. None of them got dynamic with the posers, none of them really showed what the body did. So I watched them but I thought I'm going to have to do more than that. And like I said, some of the pictures, the lighting's not been the best, and I thought, I don't know, they look a little bit toyish and I'm not going to be buzzing about these when I get them. But in hand, I've got to say the initial thought were these are fucking awesome and I'm very tempted to spend the money and buy myself at that price, then look for the Donatello and Raphael somewhere down the line. So I might still do that. But as it stands, like I said, massive thank you to Wyman, and these are for sale through 16 Bruce. So before we crack on and start getting some scores, I'd just like to tell you, I have seen the first film and I thought it were okay, bit of a CGI fest, bit of a Michael Bay fest, which, I don't know, is not always a good thing. I think I actually like the design of the turtles, although I think they oversized them. But I do really like how they turned out, the different designs to the comic book. I'm glad they did that. The first film's not the best, in all honesty. I haven't seen the second one yet, and I think the second outfits are different anyway, so this definitely represents the first film. But like I said, I do like the look of the turtles, but not really the film. So I just wanted to make that clear. So, just look at the pose first, because I think that's fucking beautiful. One sword in one hand, one with other, slightly posed. Decent spread on his legs to show it will do it. So I like, you could have him like that and you'd be happy with it, I think. But I'll try and get more dynamic than that for you, brothers. You know me, I'll give you some natural poses, some dynamic. Mix it up for you, make this review worth watching. Right, so let's stop bullshitting, let's crack on. So let's start with the packaging. First thing you notice, obviously when you take it out of the outer box, although it does house two figures, you realise that both boxes are massive. And then you think, okay, well if that's the size of the box, then the figure is going to be a certain size. It's not really the case because the figures aren't too much taller than a standard 1/6 scale figure, but the box is still huge. It's got a really good look about it, very clean. I like the sort of Nickelodeon. And then as we come down, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie. And as you pull away, you get the name across the top, Leonardo, going down to a shot or a movie still of the figure. I do like the artwork, and I have seen the other boxes obviously, so I'm taking that into account. I do like the uniformity. You could display the boxes behind the figures and it would give a very nice looking backdrop. Another thing I will mention is, I noticed when I look at the box that Leonardo actually has a tattoo sort of style tribal thing there, and the figure doesn't have it, and I've only just picked up on that, so I thought I'd say it. So yeah, the artwork is really good. Where the box is let down is the quality of card. It's a little bit thinner than even the cheapest Hot Toys one would be. So that's why I said in the unboxing, it has got a bit of a toyish feel about it. I can remember when I used to buy vehicles for our Callum, like from like Star Wars and stuff like that. The box were always good artwork but quite cheap feeling. That is the case with this as well. As I move it around, you see down the spine, you have the symbol with the two swords and the blue sort of bandana. Moving down, the box turns blue, and again the graphics there. And then as I rotate the box right round to the back, it's just the same design again, but obviously minus the shot of the turtle. So really nice looking box. The two clam trays inside do hold the figure really nicely, well protected. But what I will say is, because of the cheapish cardboard, you do get parcel force corners. I've noticed it is on both, and bear in mind these were also in outer packaging and packaged up bulletproofly by 16 Bruce. So said they did both get to, I think Michelangelo's actually on top corner somewhere there, this is on the back corner, but I don't think it's avoided because of how flimsy the card is. On the looks alone though, it is pretty awesome looking, but like I said, I do knock a point off because it's not the best quality of card. So I'm going to score the packaging a 4 and a possible 5. Right, so now we'll move on to the likeness, mainly the facial likeness. As you see, I've gone to an upright position. That's the position I'm going to use for the initial shot, but I'd already got in post. I thought, well, I'll do that as the initial shot. It might attract a few more viewers in, thinking I'm going to get some maniac poses out of this figure. That's why I left it. But I've now gone to the upright pose, simply so I can get around the head, get some movement as I'm moving around, so the shadows will change and the lighting will change, and tell you my thoughts on this recreation of Leonardo. Everybody knows it's not the comic book version or the version from the late 80s or 90s. It's the 2014, I think, movie version. Some people like it, some people don't. I actually do like it. As for the recreation, I do love the sculpt, but sometimes the paintwork, I think, has let it down a little bit. Not massively, because they are really good. A lot better than I expected, to be honest. The only thing that I can't really understand is, if you look at the eyes, they're nicely painted, but they're not being glossed, or they don't look like they've been glossed enough. So because of the lack of the wetness, it just gives his eyes a little bit of a flat look. A little bit toyish, some people have said. I don't know if I'd go that far, but yeah, not like the quality that we see from the 1/6 scale companies at the moment. So I think just a little bit of a varnish over those eyes would sort that out a little bit. Another thing that I don't understand, and I know it's the mask that sort of breaks the change in the skin tones up, but it sort of goes from a browny green around his mouth, nose, his lips, as you can see, and then as you bring the top of the head in shot, it's nearly a bright pea green that's been speckled. Now, I don't mind that if anywhere else on the body were the same green, but the fact of the matter is, it isn't. It's like a totally different green to everywhere. Not even his hands are as green, or his top are as green as the top of his head. So then it makes it look like, have they not painted that part right, or what? I think they have, but I don't think, not only have they not recreated the picture on the box or the turtle from the film, they've also made it look a little bit unrealistic. I think if it did a nicer blend from this texture sort of under the bandana to above the bandana, I don't think it would have been noticeable. One thing that I definitely like about it though is the sculpt, particularly the skin texture. As we look around, very reminiscent to the Hulk skin texture and like a Predator skin texture. That is very nicely done. As you come around the mouth where the flesh would be softer, it smoothens right down. You see the appearance of a lip with kind of a scar on it, the nostrils, the sort of dimple chin. I do like all that about it. One thing I also like, I do like the fact that the bandana is sculpted around his eyes, and I do like the fact that they've sculpted it as if it's been wrapped and wrapped and wrapped. So you've got layer on layer in the sculpt, and then obviously it's blue, but then with a black paint wash that sort of gives it the impression of folds and creases. I do really like that. Then around the back, it goes from being a sculpted piece to a cloth piece, so it will hang naturally. I do like that, and I think they've matched the blue of the cloth to the sculpt really nicely. So all in all, I really do like them. I like the appearance. I think the expression is good enough, and I've seen the others, and I will say the expressions are all different, so there's no reused parts as I see it. And I do think it's very in theme, very characteristic. I do like it. Like I said, if they'd have sharpened the paintwork up just a touch more, it would have been perfect for me. But like I said, the bright green is a little bit too notable. So for that reason, I'm going to mark the likeness down. Obviously with the flat eye colours as well. I'm going to bring the likeness down to just a 4 out of 5. Moving on to the outfit. And as I'm showing you that, I just want to move down and just demonstrate. There's no trickery here. He's balanced on his own leg in an high kick position. So the balance on this figure and the strength of the joints and everything is fucking pretty much perfect. So bear that in mind when I get round to the articulation. Look at that. His foot is as high as his leg and he's just got one foot planted. So move away, you'll see no flight stand, no wires are up. That's just Uncle Clipper's skills and a well balanced figure from ThreeZero. So mucho respect to him for that. Anyway, let's move in and talk about the outfit. First things first, I'm going to try not to move it, obviously. As we look, Leonardo wears these sort of trainers. Obviously they've been thrown together, the different parts, the different materials that they found in the sewer. See the lacing system that wraps around it. The highlights are blue, which is in theme with his bandana colour. The lace section, it's pretty much different parts of different trainers stitched together. That's the feel you get. As we move up and look at this one, again, same thing. Got the sculpted lace off to one side and the bigger lace up round his ankle. And then the wiring system that holds it all together. So, do like that about it. As we look onto his leg, he has the leather style wrap that goes, and then it's got the gauze bandage underneath. So he starts moving from sort of a sneaker up into sort of a shin guard. Again, nicely done. Another thing I will say as well, anywhere where this figure has straps, like particularly like that, they've got a tacky feel to them. I don't know if the paint's not dry or what, but I don't know if yours will be the same, but on this one, particularly the one that goes round his waist and this one that goes round his shoulder, it does have a bit of a, like I said, tacky feel. Not stick to your finger tacky, but just like a wet paint sort of feel. Anyway, going back to what I was saying. As we look at his sort of his midsection clothing, it's sort of layer on layer, different parts that make up the sort of samurai style outfit. The patchwork is really well done and it's used real thread. It does look sort of rough and ready, so you do have the bits of thread hanging off, and I think they would also pull off. So it does look very natural and very, like I said, very rough. Underneath, if I can show you without moving him too much, he has the padded sort of thigh section, and it does feel like a padded material, the black here, and then wrapped round again with a sort of bandage design, and then the lace work. I hope you can see in there. Can't see how much light I'm getting to it. The lace work that holds it in. Again, the leg that's in the air is the same look, laced together, and then that padded section. Because it is attached to his upper leg, it doesn't limit his articulation at all. And then if you look right under his crotch, you see the bottom part of his body, so where his cock and balls would be, that's a soft pliable rubber, and that is the bottom part of his torso. So that is why there's no hindrance to the articulation. It then has the faux leather sort of belt on belt and loincloth going around the back. Again, very nice, very in theme with the samurai look that Leonardo's got going on, which also moves up to the chest armour, which are separate pieces of like bamboo on 2 strings, and then he has it hanging around that side and that part of his chest, and then down there as well. Again, awesomely done. He's pretty much his arms, his shoulders, his wrists, his hands, all covered with this gauze bandage, which does feel real and is sort of glued in place. I get a feeling over time it might come loose, but I don't think it'd be hard to re-glue it back down and re-wrap it round him. This piece, as you see, holds sort of a forearm guard, so if that were his lead arm when he's sword fighting, that would be his sort of mini shield on his forearm. The back of his hands, as you see, have the metal plating, so again would be hand guards for when he's sword fighting. The shoulder pads are nice, and because of how they're attached, they don't really get in the way. They're just a sculpt and then painted. Quite a soft plastic, like leading into like a rubber or vinyl feel. Really nice one. I will say this one does pop on and off at the bracket very easily. So sometimes you move it, you've got to either re-glue it back to the strap that it's on, or in this situation that is still loose, but it sort of traps in place anyway between his shoulder and his shell. So again, nicely done. I spoke about the bandana. I like the way they chose to do it. The sculpt around the eye so it doesn't move about, and then the loose sort of tied section at the back, really good. Do love that about it. The overuse of the duct tape around his belt and in certain other places. On his pad, you see there, he's got the X. If I move that out of the way, the ducts, and then he has the NYC badge on his strapping. that goes down and makes up his holsters or his sheaths for his katana swords. Now, I could rotate that and show you the back, but I'm going to lose that pose. But you know what? Fuck it. I'm Uncle Clipper. I'm not fucking conventional. Let's turn the bitch round. I'm playing fucking games today with you. I'm being serious. As you see, the back, he has the bandage, the gauze again, wrapped around his sword sheaths in an X style position, and they're held in place really nicely. Real buckle on his strap. You could tighten that up, which I think this one might need a little bit, sometimes a little bit loose, sort of down here. It don't clutch to the shell really tightly, but I think they've done it like that so it gives you the choice. Just looking at the carve work up the sheaths, again, it's stunning. Then if we go along this one, again, really nicely sculpted, really nicely painted, and top notch. If I move down to the loincloth, you see it is faux leather, but again, it's got the sort of mossy look on it, where he's been living in the cold, damp sewers. Really nicely done. You see the threads hanging, and again, looking at the wraps around his ankle. The shell as well is so realistic, it's unbelievable. It feels awesome, it looks awesome, the sculpt and the paintwork is amazing. On the outfit, I'm going to struggle to mark it down, to be honest, because there's nowhere that I can really mark it down. The only thing I would say is there isn't a lot to it. It's not made up of very many parts, but what they've done is awesome. So I feel a little bit tight only giving it a 4 out of 5, but that is in fact what I'm going to do. So, but I'm going to pat myself on back here. In fact, I might give me balls a little love tap, because to get a pose like that in a review when I've been filming for probably 7 or 8 minutes just on that section, that figure ain't even looked like it's going to fall over. So credit to me, and credit to ThreeZero, and credit to fucking Leonardo, because that is beautiful. Right, so moving on to articulation, and as you can see, I've not reposed it simply because I'm going to do a full articulation test. I'm getting all Sean Long on you, so I'm going to show you. I'll probably work it into a pose while I'm moving it, to be honest, but I'm going to tell you the pluses and minuses as I do that. The reason I'm going to do an articulation test is because it's very different to most things that I've seen before, aside from probably the Hulk. Now, it's more articulated than the Hulk, but how much more? Is it ninja articulated? That's what I need to find out. So I'm filming over my right shoulder, so if I do go into shot, you're going to have to excuse me. So we'll start off and we'll look at the head. The head is just on a ball joint and it moves freely and nicely. I will say the skin around it is very soft. Look at that. So sometimes you might push it to an extreme and you might see the gap on the neck, but if you can keep the neck inside the head, it doesn't restrict you at all with the movement. So, and I will say, if the head comes out, it's just on a ball joint, so it just pops straight back on. So that is nice. As I said in the clothing section, this is actually loose at the moment. As you see, it's got the 2 dots there, and all you need to do is put that bracket back into it and glue it back in place. But for while I'm doing review, I'm not going to do that, simply because I can keep it in place anyway, because it traps between the shoulder and the shell anyway. So like I said, that will never fall off. As you can see, it's not going to fall off even if I check it, so it's not a major problem. In fact, it's probably a better idea. But anyway, so for the sake of this demonstration, we'll take that off. Now the arms, all this is soft, as you can see. All the body, under here, the shell, the arms, it's all soft and squidgy, and then you can feel a very strong armature inside. The shell and the skin looks fucking amazing, as you can see. So looks very, very realistic. I think that's pretty much what a turtle would look like, or a mutant turtle anyway. So that is nice, and that is the reason why you don't get much clash when you're articulating it. So if we look at this arm in particular, you see the ratchet. Now I've gone up to that height. So let's think about this. Rubberized arm on an armature. Looks awesome, painted awesome, and it's clothed. You think about the review I did before this, is the Hot Toys Alien, which costs quite a lot more than this, but would only go to 30 degrees. This, as you see, goes any range you want, and because of the ratchet, will hold, whether he's holding his sword or not. It's not pulling about, and I'm thinking about Thor with his hammer, where he's constantly dropping his arm down. Not this bad boy. So it'll go to that on the arm, and then the arm will rotate, as you see. Connections in there, and it's got a rubber floating skin on it. Very similar to something like the Mike Tyson figure from Storm. So if you can think about that, you'll not be far wrong. Good rotation, as you can see. Awesome. See the soft squidgy skin here, but it is armoured here. Will the elbows articulate? Let's have him like that. So you're going 1, 2, 3, probably 3 clicks. Puts the crease in the skin, but still looks pretty natural, I think. And then the hand is on a ball joint. When you're swapping them, I would suggest you pull the skin back on the arm a little bit so you get right into the ball joint and swap the hands on and off. Obviously, because they're on a ball joint, they will move freely, rotate, swivel, pivot. Very natural for holding a sword. I do fucking love that about it. So that's the arms, and obviously if one arm's going to do it, the other arm's going to do it. Even with a pad on the shoulder, like here, it's still going up to there. Still got articulation, still rotation. Very, very good. Awesome, in fact. Then if you look at here, sort of where his armour splits and the soft part of the shell at his sides, there is a good rotation there. I'm not going to do it too much, simply because in this section there's 2 thin laces which go away through the bamboo, and I don't want to risk snapping them inside because then the bamboo will fall off. But you see there is an articulation part there, nice and soft, good swivel, very nicely done. Now if we move his clothes out of the way, you see his cock section again is really soft rubber. So again, you know it's not gonna hinder the articulation. Look at that. Open up. We'll go. Look at that. Fucking amazing. That's what you're thinking, innit? Well, it does splits. Hiya! Look at that. Knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 ratchet clicks in his knee. Now when it's open you do see that, but is that unsightly? Because I don't fucking think so. I think that is beautiful. The foot is on a ball joint. It's a little bit restricted because of the strapping goes right down into the foot, but it will still rotate, dip, pivot, everything you want to do, and then the shoe feels soft and squidgy as well. So really good. That is how I would get it into a kicking position or a leaping position. I hope you can see this in shot. Like I said, the articulation on that for a rubber body, and again the balance of it. Let me see if I can stand it up on its own. Hold on. I don't quite do it because I ain't got his weight distributed evenly. But anyway, so that is the articulation on it. It's a bulky feeling figure, but it feels pretty robust as well. It feels like you're not going to fuck it up. You can get it nearly into a kneeling position, so his legs really widespread, which I'm going to do. I'm going to get the swords back out, get him posed up while I'm doing the extras section. So very impressed with it. They are ninjas, they are turtles, and again, fucking ThreeZero have done awesome work. Really buzzing about these figures. So, what am I going to score it? I was very close to giving it a 5 out of 5 because, like I've said before, I do make allowances for what sort of figure it is. Is it, how bulky is it? Is it wearing armour? Is it a predator? Whatever. You can't get a predator to articulate like that when it's wearing as much armour. I don't care what you say. So it's better than a predator. Is it a true type that will go into any position? No, obviously it's not that, so I can't give it a 5, but I'm only knocking it down to a 4 out of 5. Moving on to his extras and accessories. Before we do, let's just take a second, yeah, and just fucking drink that in, because that is fucking beautiful. Again, samurai me off. Look at that. Look at muscle groups in arm, tension through that arm. We've got that one coming back on its head. Get Orion Clipper, fucking hell, give him a chance. You just think they're making ground on you, and it turns out they're not at all. You can keep your fucking Shardamus Primes and your fucking Octobodamus and every other fuck you want to mention. There's only one fucking daddy around here, and that's me. You know I don't like to big myself up normally. Well, I'm pretty proud of that fucking pose. If you were doing that with a fucking £8 figure, or fucking, you know what I mean, one of them £12 fucking box sets with articulation and joints all over it, you'd be like, oh, I like that pose, that's pretty good. We're talking about a rubberized body on an armature, looking sweet, posed up like that for you. Have a bit of respect, boys, yeah? Just pay a little bit of respect to Uncle Clipper. Anyway, now I've finished that self-promotion, let's talk about his accessories and give this fucking figure a slap right chops. Cause all he brings is 2 spare pair of hands, which I will say are fucking awesomely done. The metal plates on the back, the wraps, that's the most relaxed of the set. And that's the other one. A nice tight fist. You can't get the sword through that one. Again, nicely done. Sculpt, paint, the cloth work, and then the metal section on the back. Pop onto the arms. So the hands in the cells are awesome. Then obviously he's got his sword holding hands, as you see, and then his 2 katanas. Both with a blue handle, but the handles are both different. Let me zoom in and show you that. Look at the detail on the on that one. That's got the wrapped style blade. Looking at that, nicely done. And have a look at this one. It's got more rounded, and with a different style of wrap. And then obviously the sheaths crossed over on his back that each sword will fit into. So, I do like the weapons, I do like the choice of hands, but that is all he brings. Does he need a stand? He doesn't, but one would have been nice, especially if it had been like a manhole cover with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on it, or something that you could build a base together that all 4 could stand on that would fit into a DTOF or a bigger display. That would have been a nice touch. Maybe another portrait, one more angry, one more peaceful, let's say. Could have been a couple other things. They didn't give him yet. I'm happy with what you got, but they could have been just a little bit more sweeteners. Going back to the stand, this has got to be one of the most balanced figures I've ever displayed. He's stood nice, pretty much got all his weight on his left foot that's planted. And then his right foot is still at an angle, and his oldest sen. Look at how his weight's distributed. So I don't know that he needs a stand, but one would have been nice, I think. To score the extras and accessories, I'm only going to give it a 2 out of a possible 5. Like I said, Michelangelo does bring another item which they could have replaced on Donatello, even a pizza box or a cut up pizza, something just to sort of make it so you get an equal amount of things. When I've looked at it, I don't think Raphael brings much, and then Donatello brings more than the others, so I don't know, they could have evened them out. I know certain figures are bigger and bulkier, certain turtles are bigger and bulkier than the others, but they could have had the extras so it were all level. But like I say, as a standalone figure, it's fucking amazing, to be honest. I'm very blown away with it, which don't happen to me very often. So yeah, on the extras I'm giving it a 2 out of a possible 5. I'm going to go straight into value, and I've seen them on eBay and the price sort of varies, somewhere between £170 per figure up to some that I've seen that's now around the £240 mark. These, like I said, as a set have come from Wyman, and it's £300 for the pair. That is an awesome price. I can't think of any figures in the £150 range that are more awe-inspiring than these. I've got to be honest, I do love the damn toys, Gangster's Kingdom, but I've come to sort of appreciate the fact that they're around the £100 mark, and for that price I do love them. Some do go up a little bit more, but like I said, I'm teetering on the brink of buying these myself at £300, £150 per figure. They're already shipped to me, so I've not got shipping to pay on top of that. Better still would have been if ThreeZero would have seen the light when I was talking to them a few months ago and offering to review for them, and they send us some videos, pick us your best videos and we'll have a look at them, about being an exclusive reviewer. Then didn't hear fuck all from them. They should have really sent me a full set and then I'd have done all the fucking reviews for him. And just imagine, ThreeZero aligned with Uncle Clipper. That would have been a credit to them, not a credit to me. So, in fact, I'm going to fucking link this video to them. I just want to know what they've got to say. They'll probably say, thank you for filming, like they always do. And then you say, do you need any more reviewing done? And they're like, we'll fucking contact you later, you fucking idiot. You keep buying your figures. But anyway, jokes aside, it would have been nice for ThreeZero to say, thanks for that fucking Atlas review you did, and that Ned Stark and Tyrion Lannister and Walter White and this figure and that figure. Thanks for doing all them for us and advertising your brung us. There's a set of turtles for Uncle Rickster. You display them with pride. It'd been nice if they did that, but they fucking didn't. I had to rely on my good mate Wyman to send them me. Anyway, getting back to the subject, £150 per figure is awesome value. Regardless of whether you get much with them or not, I don't give two fucks about that. The figure itself has got to be worth more than 150 quid. The price will go up because I had contact from somebody in France yesterday saying if I buy them, will you ship them to me? So I get a feeling these figures will sell if I don't buy them myself. So, for that reason, I'm giving the value a 5 out of a possible 5, which gives the figure an overall score of 23 out of a possible 30, which is a good score to say that I did mark the packaging down, it brings very little extras, all the key categories, it pretty much ticks every box. So, thanks to Wyman again for sending it me, thanks to ThreeZero for sort of thinking outside the box and picking up the licenses that Hot Toys didn't seem to want. The execution is awesome, some people say they look cheap, in hand, I don't think so. I would be more than happy to ship out some of these Hot Toys I've got to make room for 4 turtles in one of these glass cabinets. That's the honest truth for it. The only thing that's doing me is I'm pretty much putting all my money into buying people like fucking Captain Phasma and fucking Finn and Alien and this person and that person, just so I can keep my reviews coming when I'd really love to park 600 quid in a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles display. That's the fact of it. And I will say as well, our Callum does love this film, and when he came in from work yesterday, he went, where's other 2 turtles? I says, I haven't been sent them. He went, fucking buy them then. I'm like, you fucking buy them. I says, I'll buy these 2, you buy other 2. And he's like actually tempted, which is first time fucking ever, because pretty much he can't wait to see back of these fucking figures so he can have his bedroom to his sen. So, the fact he likes them also helps me, or makes me believe I might buy them myself. I don't know. But anyway, thanks to you guys for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. If this isn't your cup of tea but you've enjoyed the review, please leave a comment just to say, top posing there, Uncle Clipper. You rate what you say. You are fucking gaff around here. We know a lot of people fucking hate you because your opinions are a bit too strong. A lot of people hate you because you think that fucking community owes you a living. A lot of people hate you because you're too fucking honest for them. And a lot of people hate you because you're just too goddamn good looking. If you want to say that, you can do. But where fucking chips are down, when I watch my reviews compared to some others, I think, what are they fucking doing? But anyway, that's just honesty. I'm not even going to laugh about that because it's true. But anyway, it's Clipper King, and I'm out of here. After credit scenes. I can't stop playing with the fucker. So I'm just going to throw you a couple of quick poses in, just so you can appreciate it. And when you buy these figures, you know just what they'll do. You can refer back to this video and say, Uncle fucking Clipper got that out of it. How the fuck did he do it? I'm just going to chuck you about 3 or 4 in, I think. These swords are looking fresh. And another one. Look at that. Head down, swords up. Let's have a look at him. Beautiful. Have to credit me off. Here we go again. I'm back in. With double blade look. Got his blades running parallel. Double slashing hell. Yeah, man. And lucky last. Here we go. It's gone back to the upright position. Looking up to the ninja gods. Just his swords by his side. Pretty natural. Pretty beautiful. Anyway, that's it, brothers. I'm out of here.